Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 18th Avenue Podcast. As you know, this is the podcast where we explore new culture, we talk to people, we hear the stories. If you love stories, you must definitely have tuned into the podcast. My name is Rico Bottles, and
Brandon Des Brisay.
joining me here today is Brandon, the photographer. For this episode, we are going to keep it on cultural, marriage life, family, and photography. So thank you all for joining me. And Brandon, thanks for being here, man. How are you?
Hey, good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Appreciate you being here, man. I know it's been a while. We've been trying to make this work.
Yeah,
It's awesome. So we're just going to get into it. We're going to start off with background.
you bet. Yep.
Yeah. What's your background? What's your parents' background?
Kind of a, not the worst, but not the easiest upbringing. But grew up in Prince Rupert, Queen Charlotte Islands, now in Haida Gwaii, up northern BC till I was about 12. Moved to Montreal for a few years. Then between divorce and all that stuff, back to BC, back to Montreal, kind of around the country since then.
When you say divorce, your parents divorced or your divorce?
My parents, yeah. When I was 5, my parents divorced, and I lived with my mom for a while. And then she decided to let me know how bad my father is when I was 11 by sending me to live with him. Turned out he wasn't so bad, but we moved to Montreal. He started dating, and he got married, then left me with his mother. So I lived with her for a few years, kind of just waiting around. Then I was in Quebec, failing French class, wanted to get through high school, so I moved back in with my mom when I was 16, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
Well, that's really
rough.
yeah. That's quite a story, man.
It was
Quite a
interesting.
story. Yeah, it's actually very interesting. It's a whole lot more interesting than I thought I was going to get.
Yeah.
Just right off the back. Where is the origin of your family? Like, are they like where's the origin? Have you ever like thought about looking up ancestries or heritage?
Yeah, so we did an ancestry DNA recently because we were hoping that something interesting would pop up. But basically, heritage-wise, like Scandinavian, Scottish, and that's pretty much it. So we found out I'm basically Wonder Bread, which is not as exciting or exotic as we were hoping.
Oh, okay. That's pretty awesome, man.
But like culturally, just Canadian from west to east.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. What did you aspire to be in high school?
I don't know. It's a tough question. I didn't have a lot of hope for my future when I was in my teens. I had a hard time having a lot of self-value for a while. I think just because of kind of being dropped by my parents continuously growing up. But kind of one thing that helped me get out of that was just when girls started liking me. It's a simple little thing.
That's awesome, man.
But
Yeah, let's get you just come closer to the mic.
but yeah, that starts giving you a little more confidence in yourself, I guess.
Okay. All right. So, at what point did you say, "Look, I'm going to turn it around"?
When I was 18, I was really depressed. I was living in a small town, British Columbia, called Merritt, and a friend of mine passed away. She got into a car accident, got crushed from the pelvis down.
Sorry to hear that.
And that was really hard. And then 3 months after that, my best friend died of ulcerative colitis. So
You want to explain what that is a little bit?
So ulcerative colitis, it's very similar to Crohn's, I guess, in some ways.
Got it.
But in the lower intestine, I think it is, he had ulcers, and he had to control it with his diet. But he went to Mexico and kind of got that flu that everyone gets, that bug that everyone gets when they're down there. When he came back to Canada, his body couldn't fight it off. So they put him into surgery, but he died on the table. It was rough.
Damn.
But so I was in a bit of a spiral then, and I had a girlfriend that I could have been better too. Like, it wasn't bad, but I just didn't take the relationship seriously
Right.
enough. And when that ended, I just kind of looked at myself and I was like, who do I want to be as a person? Because I was looking in the mirror and I was seeing like somebody that I didn't want to be. So then from then on, I started trying to make decisions to be the kind of person that I wanted to be.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Damn. I'm not going to say there was no father in your life. There was father in your life, but it was just missing for the most time.
Well, my stepdad was amazing.
Okay.
My mom's husband, and he taught me a lot. I was really lucky to have him. And like, my father did care in his way, and he tried to be there in his way. But I guess he just wasn't quite enough for what I needed.
Yeah. Does he come from your father's side now? How was his upbringing? Was it much similar to your upbringing? Because you know, a lot of time what happened with trauma is that it is transferable from generation to generation.
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
he didn't
and-
have it easy either. His dad died when he was 14. But yeah, I don't know a lot else about what his upbringing was like. But his mom loved him and his dad loved him, and but he didn't have a dad from his teens up, and I'm sure that would have been tough.
Yeah, I can relate to that, man. I lost my parents, father at a very young age. So, yeah, I can. Yeah, it's tough, but you do your best and you just keep pulling yourself up no matter what. What would you say was like the hardest time for you? Where that moment where you're kind of by yourself and you're looking around and you're like, man, if I don't do something now.
Yeah, definitely when I was 18, because in the small town in BC, you're looking at drugs are there, you know, that lifestyle's there.
Did you ever try any type of drugs?
I was around it a little bit. I didn't catch on to it too much, but it definitely could have been a life choice. And I kind of woke up and it was all of a sudden just like a clear path. Like, either I can stay here and go that way, or I can get the hell out of here and try to clean myself up and be the kind of person I want to be. So that's when I left. I went back to Montreal, and I just chose to stay single for a little while and try to get myself in order. But I was lucky too, because I had some older people to help me navigate that kept me under their wing a little bit at different points in life.
And when was the first time you were exposed to any culture outside of just like the typical Caucasian white culture? And how did you kind of respond to that? What was your...
Well, growing up, Prince Rupert, Queen Charlotte's, it's there's a lot of Haida natives there, and a lot of my friends, close friends growing up, were all Haida native. So, I mean, that's a strong, beautiful culture.
And all right, so we're going to move on to family. We're going to get into that, family, marriage, and everything. First and foremost, how long have you been married?
12 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's amazing.
That is amazing.
I'm a lucky man.
Yeah, I said, oh shoot. And how did you guys meet?
Well, I was living in that town in BC, and there wasn't a lot of young people. So if you wanted someone with things in common, you branch out to other towns. and I ended up dating a couple of her friends before, and that's how I met her. As I was dating one of her friends, and but that's when we were like 17. Yeah, I met her at a ski hill when we were 17. She hated me. She did not like me.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
I dare say, how the hell did it come to be? Like, what?
I don't know. Eventually, I guess she thought I was all right, and we stayed friends for a few years.
Yeah,
But then one day I'm back in Montreal, and I get this phone call at 2:30 in the morning. She's like, "Hey, do you know who this is?" I'm like, "Kirsten?" She's like, "Nope, we haven't seen each other in a long time." And then I recognized her voice. I'm like, "Kayla?" And she was like, if I didn't get the right name the second time, she wouldn't have ever talked to me again. But yeah, I got it right, and we ended up talking till like, I don't know, 5 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
And at one point she said she'd come visit me, and I was like, yeah, just like Tira said she'd come visit me, which was another friend of hers that never came to Montreal to visit.
Yeah.
And after I said that, she had to come, so she booked the flight the next day.
So, where was she located? You were in Montreal?
Yeah, and she's from a small town called Clearwater, BC.
Got it.
It's famous for a park called the Wells Gray Park.
Okay.
And it's basically a trailer park on the side of a mountain with a couple of mills.
Sweet, I like that. So, when did you know you were in love?
I don't know, man. It just kind of... But I think even before she ended up showing up to Montreal, we spent so much time on the phone. And then once she showed up and we clicked.
And I was at what? But this wouldn't have been the first time you met her. You guys have met before.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we stayed in touch a little bit here and there over the years, but not a lot. Yeah.
Wow. Here's a question here for you. What has been like the hardest and easiest elements of being married, staying married?
The hardest, which I discovered when I first got married, is that little things that aren't that big of a deal, when you throw emotion into it, suddenly they become a bigger deal. And and afterwards you're like, why did I even care? It's like the littlest thing, but if your emotions get flared up, these things can be so much harder to handle.
Yeah.
But once I kind of came to with that realization, I'd step back from emotions and give things a break, and a lot of the problems aren't that big.
Oh man, that's amazing to hear. I guess you were able to work through it all, no matter what.
Yeah, we never really had, like, being faithful to each other is obviously huge. So, and then you change a lot. Like from when you're 21, what's important to you is totally different to what when you're 25, which is different when you're 30. But we grew together, and we changed together, and always kept each other in mind. And she's always supported my stupid ideas, and
Right. And that's
and
key.
that makes a big yeah.
Did she ever whenever you guys would disagree, maybe jokingly, did she ever like drop, her friend name, or you dated this friend and that friend, or
No,
she never did that?
No.
Dude, that's golden.
Oh, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
you were totally forgiven, legit.
Yeah, I mean, they were pretty innocent relationships too. We were just young teenagers.
Yeah.
But more than anything, I think she likes the story. It's kind of a funny way to meet someone.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty awesome. I like that. What would you say? What do I have going on here now? How has the road of husband changed, and what do you suggest a new husband to focus on, in terms of maintaining a happy relationship or a happy life or happy wife? Yeah.
It's going to be different for different people. Maintaining a tight communication. We're best friends.
Do you get to do a lot of things in the house? Like, who's cooking? Who's in charge of cooking?
Oh,
Who's
she does
doing
way
all
more in the house than I
She
do.
does.
She'll tell you that right away. She's amazing. She's such a hard worker.
that? Really?
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. So
But,
she does but you
I
do
try
know
to
how to cook.
No, I'm a terrible cook.
Oh.
When we first got married, she's just like, "You're doing this wrong. You're doing that wrong," and I'm like, "Forget about it."
Forget about it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna get takeout.
So I try it now
Yeah.
and again, but yeah, she takes care of most of the cooking, and
Okay.
but I do a lot of the cleaning and tidying. She'll call it tidying. I'll call it cleaning.
Awesome. Awesome. Uh, what's
But,
like your favorite dish that she makes that you are just like, oh yes, this is exactly why I marry you. Well, not why you marry her, but like,
I don't know. She's always making new stuff, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
And she, tying into the culture, we were vegetarian for a few years. We ate a lot of Indian food because their food tends to be, you're not trying to make a hamburger vegetarian. It is vegetarian food, a lot of it. But like she just made Thai eggs for the first time the other night, and that like blew my mind.
okay.
I don't know if you know what they are, but like
No, I never heard of it.
it clouds up into like this big, almost caramelly, crispy omelet thing. You can check
Okay.
it out. It's amazing.
Man, that's pretty awesome. I would love to check that out. Do you guys disagree at all?
Oh yeah, constantly.
Yeah. What's the? Okay, that's good. I mean, not
Like
good.
we
but
don't
like,
fight, but like
Yeah.
obviously we're two different people. We don't agree on everything.
Right. So, what are some subject you would say that? What are the subject that you guys most disagreed on, and yeah, and how do you, go about resolving? And do you have subject that you refuse to kind of discuss because you know that you would never come to agreement with that?
I don't know if there's anything we wouldn't discuss.
Okay.
I think it's important for both people to bend to a degree. It depends on how important the subject is. But I don't know. I feel like she should be here for this because she'd have a better answer than
Don't
me.
worry. Next time.
I don't. I try not to remember the arguments and just keep,
You just
keep
try to
things
forget.
positive. But,
Yeah.
She usually, like, sometimes I'll just be like, putting my foot down. And usually
Right.
if I do that, she'll be like, fine, whatever. But if it's important, you try to both give and take as much as possible.
Yeah. All right. That's awesome. I like that. Okay, so here's a question. You've been married for 12 years, which is freaking incredible. COVID is here, and I'm not sure if a little while ago, there was an article in the Times magazines and talking about the divorce rate and, the challenges that many relationships are facing under this COVID thing, because now you need to live together and you need to see each other every second. Like, there's no room that's free. And how has COVID affected you guys? What has been the advantages, disadvantages?
When it first hit, I had the whole family had strep throat, so we were stuck in the house together, and it was amazing. We love spending time together, so
That's awesome.
it was just like a little vacation.
I think it should have been like Greek or like African or something, like, because you don't sound like the typical,
Maybe
the
not,
culture.
yeah.
You're just.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, we're good friends, and especially we've been given so much extra time with our son, because before we were both working full time. He's in daycare, so like he wakes up at 8, we see him for an hour, he's gone all day, he gets home, we see him for an hour during the week, and it was tough. But so like that's one huge positive, is being able to spend time with our son, and especially since she's been laid off. Normally the past 6 months she'd have been working full time, but now she's been home with him and loving every minute. And so there's definitely some positives. It's scary though, because her parents have moved here and they're older, so we're always trying to weigh like how much time we can spend with them and how much time because you don't want to pass on COVID. You don't know if you're carrying it. And so that's scary. But and her being laid off permanently is tough. She had a good job, and now she'll have to find something else. But
I know. Sorry to hear that, man. It's gotten a little tough out here.
try to take the good with the bad, I guess.
Yeah. In terms of work, but I really do hope that she finds something fairly soon, because that is important. That will boost the morale, the ego, not the ego, but just the morale, the spirit in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that tends to now bring a lot of, having to figure out a new routine and,
Exactly, yeah.
Breaking from one to the next.
Yeah. And in nursing, it can be hard to find a good schedule that fits family life, and she had that. So hopefully she'll find that again. That's a little bit stressful, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, no, well, finger crossed, and I know that she will. Yeah, COVID didn't affect you guys negatively at all. How is it like raising a child? You mentioned that you spend a lot of time now with your son and not having to take him to daycare all the time and and now that she's even laid off now, is this like a good thing? Well, not like a good thing that she's laid off, but at least now you get...
Well, it's amazing that she gets to spend all that time with him. At the same time, it's going to be tough to broach. He's not spending time with other kids his age now. So what the long-term effects of that we'll have to deal with. But
you mentioned that your boy is like, what, 18 months now? Okay, that's pretty cool. All right. Now, here is one question that I'm going to ask you now, and this will be the final here, then we can move on to photography. If you had it all to do over again, what would you like to change most?
that's a tough one because, like there's these things in life that change your life so easily that I'm happy with what I've managed to build and where I've managed to put myself and everything that led together that brought me my son and my family. So like the big things as far as how I was raised and stuff made me who I am, right? So I don't know how you change that, but of course, like if I could have prevented that accident from happening to my friend, or you see loved ones die, and you'd love to see that kind of thing change. But and if you could go back in time and know what you know now when you're a little bit younger, you make some better choices here and there. but
Absolutely.
all in all, I can't complain. I've been fortunate to be here
That's
in
great,
Calgary,
man.
and
I read this great quote from Chris Gardner years ago. Pursuit of Happiness talks about this idea of, says, too often we sit back, we have all this tremendous regret. But he's like, yo, you got here, or I got here because I drove here. Things had to happen in life, and that's part of the test. That's part of your testimony. However you look at it, it's never going to be perfect. If it was perfect, we would all be the same height. Our fingers would be all even, and all that yada yada. We would not have all these differences that we have now in our society. So you get here because you drove here, and there's no need to complain. Just figure out how to make your way around the block. That's that. Do you remember why you became a photographer?
I've always been interested in art. When I was through my teens, I did a lot of drawing. And then in high school, I got to get into some Photoshop and illustration and stuff like that. I took a photography course, enjoyed it. And then I couldn't afford, or I thought I couldn't afford to get into photography, so I kind of ignored it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then a number of years ago, I used my friend's camera. I'm like, you know what, I want to do this. Part of me was scared because in the culture of photography, there was this kind of saying where people would be like, oh, they bought a DSLR and now they think they're a photographer. And that held me back, I think, quite a few years, which I regret, because there might be a little bit of truth to the saying, but it's a pretty negative and a half truth, because I mean, you got to learn the basics, and you gotta get a handle on things. Not everyone's a professional photographer, but everyone's a photographer now, and,
Right.
and like if you enjoy taking pictures, then man, do it. It's a blast and it's amazing. So I did it because it fulfilled that creative side of me.
Yeah. That's amazing. What would you say? Do you remember the first photo you took?
I don't remember the first photo I took because
I don't think anyone.
I don't
does.
know if anyone does now. 'Cause
I
we've grown
thought,
up with
maybe
cameras.
you might be the
But,
one that stand out.
But I remember when it really started standing out to me as something different was my best friend in Merritt, the one who passed away of ulcerative colitis. He had a point and shoot camera, and he brought that thing everywhere with him, and we had a lot of fun with it. And when he died, I got all his photos. His family gave me his photos to hold on to, and so that was really, really powerful. And I think that's where the deeper love of photography probably stemmed from, is being able to capture those moments and hold on to those memories, and how important that is. And so I got a point and shoot too, and I took pictures everywhere I went, and yeah, I just loved it.
That's beautiful, man. That's such a good story. The way it comes together, the way it tied in together. That's that's huge. It's emotional. All right. So, what would you say your style of photography is? Do you have a style, or do you just kind of?
I don't know, because when you're first starting to branch from going from doing it to a hobby to try to make a living, you're told you need to find your niche, you need to find your style. So I did that for a little while, and it kind of made me feel burnt out by it, because you're told by, I don't know who, the internet, that you got to fit everything into this little box and make a marketable package and present it.
Yeah.
And that works if you want to make money, but making money's, I don't like being in that box, so I let go of the worry about that, and so now I just love playing with color, capturing stuff, trying to make something look as beautiful as it can, and give people something that'll make them happy, even if it's not necessarily Pulitzer prizes or anything like that. At first, when I started trying to make a living at it, and it's good to have these dreams and follow dreams, but it's also good to understand, like, I had a client and she wanted pictures of her dog, so I was like, okay, well, dog pictures, I can do that and present that. And then it wasn't until afterwards that I realized how important that was to her in her life, because the dog was at the end of its life, and like those pictures were so important. Yeah. And then I realized, like, it doesn't have to be a big thing for it to be an important thing in someone's life.
Right. Yeah, that's important. You talk about this idea of this box, and I find for years I've been stuck in it because I never really got into it to say I needed to do something specific, the money didn't even occur to me. But unfortunately, like you said, if you want to make the money, that's what you have to do. And I was stuck in that space for so long. So I have like 1 million Instagram account right now because it's like, all right, it's time to take these bad boys, let's put them here, let's put them here, let's put them there. So I'm still around it. But it's the only way I can justify what I do. I can't just drop everything. Sometimes I like to do total strangers, street stuff. Sometimes I want to do work in the studio. That's like my forte. I like the studio environment. Sometimes I just want to, doesn't matter. I just want to do something with photos and I just want to play with the camera. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. What would you say is your favorite lens? Do you have a favorite lens and why?
I don't know. I guess 85-1.8 would be my favorite lens.
85-1.8?
I love the depth it'll give a face, like a tight portrait headshot, but you still get that nice background. But you're not distorting the face too much, not making the nose giant and stuff. And there's a lot you can do with that lens. But I was shooting just a 35 f2 for a long time, and it's very versatile. But it's also nice to now.
So that 35 was a prime then, or was
Yeah.
it? Okay, it's
Yeah.
prime. Okay, prime I good like that.
Yeah, and then that's
Solid.
like your classic street photo
Right.
lens, and I don't know if I focus too much on it though. So now I'm using a 24-70 2.8, and I'm just enjoying the versatility of you being able to chase my son around.
Awesome. Those are great too. Those are awesome. This is a good question actually. This is a solid question. So among all the gadgets that you own, is there one there that you wish you hadn't bought? You're just like, man, I wish I never bought this.
You
crap.
can waste some money, but it's a learning experience.
That's a very political answer right there. And you're not even representing a brand.
No, I mean, I spend a lot of money just exploring. I kind of attribute it to like, we do a lot of, before we had our son, we did a lot of backcountry camping. And I'm on to like my 4th backpack. And like, so I don't know, you go on YouTube and someone tells you to buy this and you do, and you're like, okay, well, it's not exactly what I need. So then you evolve your process, and it kind of changes depending on your shooting style and what you're trying to do, and as you grow as an artist. So fortunately, I haven't spent a lot of money on anything that I really regretted.
Yeah.
But
have you been keeping track of how much money you spend? Like,
yeah,
you don't have to say it, but like, ballpark maybe.
Well, when I was doing it for work regularly, I had about maybe 40 grand in gear.
40 grand.
Which now I'm looking at video cameras, and that's like a drop in the bucket.
That's just for your camera.
It got stressful when my car got broken into and I had a camera stolen. My deductible was $1,000.
Shit.
So I only got a few $100 back for the stolen camera. It was just like a Fuji X100. But then I realized everything gets stolen at once, I'm okay. But as things start to whittle down and break and get stolen little bit by little bit, then that was a scary prospect.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that, man. Oh, finger crossed. That hasn't happened to me yet, bro. Yeah. It hasn't. I'm so... Woo, that'll be a nightmare. I can't even describe it. Oh, my goodness gracious. I almost want to skip this question, actually. Well, this one is just like in the field. What are your certain... Actually, a lot of new photographers may probably want to know this, actually. They want to know your settings, like if you are out on a project, let's say you're doing wedding photos, because people tend to ask a lot of questions about that. What would you put your settings on?
So if I'm using flash, it'll be manual. And
would you mount the flash on the camera, or would you like...
If you can get it off the camera, you're going to get better results.
Got it.
if you can bounce it off a ceiling or a white wall or something, you'll get nice results if it is on your camera. Of course, if you're moving around a lot and depending on the part of the wedding day, you're going to have the speed light on your camera, but you can get some really nice, beautiful shots with an off-camera strobe. And that's mostly what I did. It's super helpful having someone carry that light around for you.
Yeah.
With the hecticness of a wedding. And like, I'm pretty a mild person. I'm not too bossy. And to be when you're at a wedding and there's like families and stuff to get all these people crowded together. Yeah. So having a fiery redhead come and tell everyone what to do can be pretty handy too. So you can focus on your settings and having someone else tell them to corral people and make sure you're getting the shots and watching that shot list. But one of the things, a lot of times it's like this extreme view of like, if you're professional, you're shooting in manual. Well, no. Like your aperture priority mode is absolutely fantastic. Like auto ISO and not having to worry about your shutter speed can be totally, absolutely valid in professional systems. Just if you've got that flash on there, make sure you're better off shooting in manual, because otherwise it can be all over the place on the exposures.
Right. So we have, we're right down to the last minute and 30 seconds here. You know what? We can't get through it all. I will have to bring you back. So let's go. Is there anything that you would like the audience to know, where they can find you and different things like that? Any final words?
Instagram's a good place to go.
Okay.
But,
what's your handle?
B. Des Brisay, which is not the easiest thing to spell, but I'm sure you'll put it out there for a quick link.
That's right. I'm going to be the hookup here, the mediator. Don't worry, guys. I got your back.
Sounds good.
Look, thank you so much for doing this. I know it came up on the fly, but that's what I like about this type of setup. It's like you just hit people up. It's like, hey, you want to. Some people want to plan. Some people require a little bit more time, but this is like absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. It's been awesome.
And by the way, like, this is actually, we met like a while ago, so he's not entirely random. He's actually a friend now. He's a brother. So, guys, we want to thank you so much. And again, the website is up, 18avenuepodcast.com. You can find us there. You can find us on Spotify, Anchor Podcast, and wherever else you listen to your podcast as. Make sure to follow the YouTube channel as well. You can find it on 18 Avenue Podcast on there. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Rico, and I'm out of here. I think you're supposed to say I'm out too.
I'm out.
Perfect.